I feel like I'm going crazy because my boyfriend accused me of abusing him, because I threatened to leave him multiple times over his behavior, and says that all the things he's done to me in the past can't be compared to that pain. Posted by you/hurt need help. Hi guys, I'm using a throwaway and avoiding names for anonymity. So, I don't really know where to start. It's almost a decade of my life, and I could write about it for days, but I'll try to pick out the unimportant bits. I, 23F, have been with my boyfriend, 28M, for 8 years. I know it's pretty much impossible to paint a good picture of someone through a few paragraphs of a story, especially considering I'm mostly pointing out problem areas. Please keep in mind that he's a good person. He's loving, gentle, cares about me more than anything, and is absolutely devoted to me. But we have tangled this relationship into quite a mess. Like everyone who posts here, I have countless reasons to want to stay, but I'm having trouble taking off these rose-colored glasses. Please help me, Reddit. Backstory: when we started dating, I was going through a lot of crap, and he was the first guy I had ever been with. I was the one who was always compromising and always finding ways to go see him. He very rarely came to see me, and if he did, he would get irritated and complain that he shouldn't have to. He would ask me to come over every single night, saying he missed me and he couldn't sleep. I lived about an hour away, and I didn't even have a car, so when I'd find rides to his house, bus, friends driving me, etc., I was excited to see him. I'd get there early in the day, and instead of seeing him, I'd sit on his couch alone for hours while he played video games. It was infuriating because I played games too, but he always told me not to bring my console because I could use his. He had literally 0 games for it, but I always ended up just pacing around his house, waiting for him to give me a second of his time. As bad as this sounds, and it was, he was so sweet and sincere when he would finally get done. He told me how glad he was that he could keep up with his legion and still have a girlfriend. He said although he ended up breaking up with his last 3 because of fidelity problems, they hated him gaming. I was young and stupid, and caught up in being the cool girlfriend. I used to have a lot of fun, going to clubs and parties and all kinds of things. I had a ton of friends, mostly male. He would get upset if I talked to them, even the ones I had known since I was a toddler, and he said that since he didn't talk to girls, then I shouldn't either. Little did I know, he actually was talking to a few girls all this time. He said I love you 2 days into dating and proposed after a few months. I told him I wasn't ready, that I loved him but I was too young and I needed to get to know him better. He was different after this, like it hurt him for me to say no. After a few months together, I'd tell him I was about to do something, like walk to the grocery store since I had no car, and he would scream at me over the phone. He said I was an idiot, going to get myself killed, women can't walk alone, especially near nighttime. I know what you're thinking, why would I stay with a sexist jerk? Well, he had never made it seem like he was sexist before, and would deny saying it. He would say he never said any such thing, and that he was only worried about me. I'd ask why he screamed and tell him it wasn't okay to treat me like that, and he'd say, I have never and will never yell at you. At this point, I'm already doubting my sanity, but the other 75% or so of the time, he's so incredibly sweet to me. I moved in with him about 10 months in because my mother died, and I had nowhere else to go. I had a job but didn't make enough to support myself. His family owned farmland in the south and had bought him his own house. About a year into our relationship, I found out that he'd lied about every single thing he'd told me about himself. The way I found out was the worst part. He just told me. He forgot that he'd lied in the beginning, and he'd start randomly telling me things like, I almost married my high school sweetheart, but she changed her mind last second and my 10th or so girlfriend calls me every weekend to say she wants to F. This is after telling me that he's been with only 3 others before me, and that he doesn't talk to any exes. None of this would have mattered to me if he'd been upfront in the beginning, but because he lied and was using the whole I don't talk to girls, you can't talk to guys BS to keep me from having male friends, I was pretty upset. A few weeks after that, I told him I was going to the movies with a female friend for her birthday. I told him the movie was at 7, and I'd be back before midnight. We wouldn't be drinking, partying, anything like that. Well, at about 9:30 I start getting horrible texts. I'm a line BTCH, I better enjoy the D I'm getting because I'm never getting his again, and that he doesn't want to see me when I get home. I was crushed. It was the first time I'd seen any friend since we started dating, and she had never met him, but she saw what he was sending me. I ignored him and ended up getting home at 11 p.m. The house was trashed, and he was up waiting for me. When I asked what the hell he was talking about, he slammed the door in my face, literally, it hit me really hard in the nose, and screamed, F off. I slept on the couch. The next day he left without saying a word to me for a softball game he had been planning with his friends. I was still pissed, So I called him as soon as I woke up. By the way, he was out of state and would be sleeping in a motel room with multiple single girls and guys for the next 5 days, and I told him he was a jerk and that I was done. He was absolutely desperate over the phone for me to give him another chance, but I hung up. I packed everything I owned and tried to leave, but he showed up right before I could and was very sincere about getting help. The next day he stayed out until 5 a.m. at a strip club and came back without his promise ring on. He said he had put it in his pocket so he would not lose it, but he smelled strange and was acting strange, and I just knew that he cheated. He vehemently denied it, saying I was insane for accusing him and that we should just break up if I was not going to trust him. I said okay and started packing again. Then he said he had never said any of that. After the fight earlier, he said he would go to therapy, stop punching holes in the walls, pay more attention to me, and even let me go to clubs again and resume contact with my male friends. Well, he did start therapy. He went for 3 months, and nothing changed. He continued to punch and break things, scream at me, tell me everything was my fault, and say that he could not stand me. He turned to drinking, and when he would get violent and drunk, he said I was the reason he was forced to drink because I was causing him so many issues. Things got better, then they got worse. They were up and down for a while, but we had a good period of about 4 years. There were several large fights over the years. Here are a few that stand out. The day my favorite aunt died, I was with her at the hospital. I drove a terrible vehicle there that was known for breaking down. After she passed, I was a mess. I told him I was leaving and would be back soon. We lived only a few minutes down the street, but my car broke down, and I was about 15 minutes late. I got home and he was furious, said I was cheating on him and that was why I was late, and screamed that I was a cheater. The landlord, who was our neighbor, heard the whole thing. He always hated me after that. No apology after he calmed down. Instead, it was my fault for causing him to worry. I was feeling depressed about the amount of porn he watched versus how often he was interested in me. We used to have a ton of sex. We had 6 different FFM 3-ways with multiple girls he chose, and I tried everything to satisfy his kinks. But then I just stopped being enough. Guys, I have zero self-esteem at this point, and I am just dreading waking up every single morning. One day, after a month of no sex, he locks himself in the bathroom and I can hear him in there. I get so sick to my stomach and have an anxiety attack. I'm a very in shape, busty girl. I'm in gymnastics and have always been told I'm generally attractive, so it's not a weight issue or anything. I suspect porn addiction. I'm hyperventilating on the floor when he comes out, and he's sweet for a moment, asking what's wrong and to please talk to him. Well, I trusted him and I shouldn't have. I told him in the most calm voice I could that it makes me feel sad when he chooses corn over me, that we've had sex 4 times in 3 months and I wish I had more from him. He completely lost it. He grabbed my shoulders so hard his nails dug in, he shook me and screamed that he doesn't even watch corn, that he is so whipped by a stupid BTCH, that his life is crap because of me. I have always been very sensitive and I cry at the drop of a hat. I know that makes him feel like I'm trying to manipulate him. But even if I lock myself in the bathroom to cry in private, it's still my fault and I'm using it to control him. I don't have anywhere to go, and I cannot not cry sometimes. Is there something I could have done to show him I just need to cry sometimes? That brings us to now. Most of the year was good, but the past few months he's been screaming a lot more. He's told me that I am a horrible person for trying to leave him years ago, and that I don't deserve him and will never find another guy who'd put up with me. He always denies things and tries to make me sound crazy, so this time I recorded it. Later, when he was more calm, I played it for him, and he accused me of inviting guys over to pretend to be him so I could get him in trouble. What the effing F? He's done much more. He's gone through every file on my computer and set the only dirty one he could find as my background to humiliate me because he knew his family was coming over. He wanted them to see the filthy stuff I look at. Remember earlier how I said he has a corn addiction? Yeah, he's at a level of hypocrisy that I just can't understand. I know this is incredibly toxic and I am so sick of feeling suicidal. I just wanted to know one thing. Am I the one who is abusive? I know I didn't give very many examples of things I've done, and maybe if he posted his side you'd agree with him, but what about my trying to leave? Was that a horrible act of betrayal? Because he is convinced it's worse than cheating, and says he is abused and is a victim. I am just so confused and feel constantly devastated and lonely. I have no one if I lose him. Please, send help. /relevant comments. Commenter. I think the psychological term is projection. He is calling you a cheater and an abuser because he is a cheater and an abuser. Most abusers are not all horrible all the time. It would be too easy to leave them. No, they vary the abuse with times of being terribly sweet, just to keep you hooked and keep you hoping that today is the day sweet boyfriend comes to stay, and horrible boyfriend goes away forever. But that never happens. The abuse gets worse and worse as he sees what you will put up with without leaving. And of course, it is all your fault, all the time. Find a safe place to go and leave. If he really thought you were abusive, he would leave you, not tell you it is all your fault and you have to change even more. So do the right thing for him and you and leave. Commenter 2. Yeah, this was sickening to read. 8 years ago you were a 15-year-old girl dating a 20-year-old man. You've never been on even ground. There's a reason he picked someone so much younger and promptly isolated you from your friends and support system. Get away from him and run for your life. Commenter 3. So many people on here are going to tell you to break up and leave. And while that's obvious to all of us, it probably isn't to you, because for 8 years he has made you think that the way he treats you is okay and the norm, to the point where you're questioning your own actions. What I would suggest is to look up some services in your area that deal with victims of domestic violence. I can't link anything here, but there are a ton of resources out there that can help you. It's going to be hard. He's going to convince you to stay. He's going to tell you everything you want to hear. But you have to ignore it. Do you have a job or money where you can hide out in a hotel for a while? Do you have friends in the area you can stay with while you figure out your next steps? You mentioned in the comments that the women's shelter said they were full. Can you call them back and ask them to help you in other ways, maybe with suggestions on other places you can stay? Call or visit the Department of Social Services in your city. Their websites usually have a list of resources. I'm sure all of this sounds completely overwhelming right now. If you'd like, feel free to PM me, and I can actually send you some links and help you further if you'd like. Ops response. Thank you so much for this, it's exactly how I feel. I really worry that maybe I need to stay because I'm the one who's hurting him. Even though I feel like that, I know you guys are right. I need to leave. I'm going to call some of my old friends, like another user suggested. I have things that I can pawn off or sell for money, and I have a degree, so I know I could get a job. I'm packing what I can right now. Op adds an edit to her post. He just texted me that he saw my post and is coming home. Op adds a second edit to her post. I'm somewhere safe now. I'll post a full update as soon as this post dies down, because the one I posted got removed. Thank you all so effing much. Update 2 days later. I'm sorry for leaving you guys hanging yesterday. I was trying to be vague in the last post because I know my boyfriend had mentioned in passing that he kept an eye on this sub in case I ever posted, but I didn't realize he meant that he checked it every single break. He was able to find it anyway, so now it doesn't matter. I'm okay, just to get that out of the way. First of all, wow. You guys, thank you so much. I haven't read all the comments yet because I had no idea this would get so big, but thank you. You are all such wonderful people. To everyone who offered me a place to stay or a ride, I can't thank you enough. Just knowing that there are people out there who would help a complete stranger is very touching, and I wish I could tell you how much I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you. To those of you saying I'm abusive for posting this, hell, I didn't mean it that way, but maybe? I didn't plan for or want him to see it, but I can see what you mean. Anyway, last night was probably the biggest night of my life, so bear with me if it starts getting too long. I've been in therapy for the last 3 years, and one of the things my therapist had me do was get a backpack ready with everything I might need in an emergency. Within 2 minutes of receiving his text yesterday and posting the edit, I grabbed that backpack and was planning on just walking, so at least I wasn't home. I don't have a car. I was thinking about just going through my contacts and talking to whoever I could, but that didn't work out. Josh was outside parked down the street. He was trying to catch me leaving. So when he sent the text that said "saw your post, I'm coming home," he was already home. He was effing waiting. I just stood there because I didn't know what to do. I thought he was going to be furious, but he ran up to me with a completely different reaction than I expected. He was crying, like bawling his eyes out. I still felt like I was waiting for him to get mad or scream at me or something, but he just hugged me really tight and said he's so sorry. He said he had no idea I felt that way and that he knows he has jealousy issues and a temper, and asked if we could talk about it inside. He begged me to come in and said he couldn't lose me and he loves me. I didn't know what to do. I just followed him in. He took my backpack from me, and when he looked at it, he just broke down. He asked if I was really leaving him, why I didn't tell him things were this bad, why I never talked to him. I told him I can't talk to him. Every time I have ever decided to trust him and open up about even the tiniest thing that's bothered me, like him asking for other girls' numbers in front of me or him hanging up on me constantly, he always loses his crap and starts screaming at the top of his lungs while I just sit there as quiet as possible and apologize. And then this is where he changed. At this point, he was no longer acting like he was sorry. He'd switch to "you're full of crap, I treat you like a goddamn angel and get walked all over in return." He said he should never have to apologize to me. I was very upset, so I played one of the fights I recorded, and I'm so glad I kept those after he told me to delete them. Even in the first 3 minutes of it, you can tell I was being calm. The first thing I say is, "Baby, I didn't mean to say anything was wrong with us, I just wanted to know why you don't want me to apply at place I could use my degree. I just want to help make money." He immediately starts yelling, "You'll cheat on me and find someone better. F off, go find some guy to F at place. I don't give a F, you'll come crawling back to me, no one else would put up with you. F you." This fight was pretty recent, but he only listened to a few seconds of it. I know some people who commented on the last post suggested that maybe I really am screaming back at him. Someone said something about slapping him too. Neither of us have ever slapped the other, though, and I understand that may be something to consider. But I know that I don't yell. I have a hard time standing up for myself, and I hate confrontation, especially with him. I always just want to make the fights better. I know I need to work on that, and I've brought it up in therapy before. I just felt like adding that. He got up and said, "F off with that crap." He was definitely not apologetic and sweet anymore, so I was just quiet. He said he's done with this crap, and I have no right to record him, and then he ripped the phone out of my hand. He said more stuff, but I can't remember everything. I asked what he was doing, but he just glared at me. Then he stomped outside with it and threw it as hard as he could. I don't know why, but that just broke my heart so much. He's broken things of mine before, but I had been planning on calling a friend or my brother, and I didn't know any of their numbers. I asked him what he did with it, but he wouldn't answer. He slammed the door so hard when he came in that I flinched. Then he bumped into me really roughly and went straight to his computer, where he put his headphones on and turned up his music really loud. He always puts his headphones on in a certain way when he's mad, 'cause then he can't hear me. He started playing a game, and he was literally fuming. I stood in the door, and he looked up at me. The way he looked at me was awful. I could feel that he absolutely hated me, and what's sad is that wasn't even the first time he's looked at me that way. I think I was kind of in shock. I always feel that way when he's mad. He kept playing games, so I went out to look for my phone, which I found parts of shattered on the street, but I never found the battery, and I don't think it was usable. When I went back in, I was shaking. We talked it out later. I think everything is going to be okay. Just kidding. I don't know why, but I just felt so done. I grabbed his phone off the counter and ran outside. I knew he used to text my brother, and he had the number of the friend I watched a movie with a while back, to make sure I was where I said I was, so I used his to call them. My brother answered on the second ring and I didn't know what to say, so I just started pouring my heart out. I told him I'm sorry we haven't talked in so long, but that I'm really scared and have nowhere to go. Guys, this hurt more than anything my boyfriend has ever said or done, and I'm still so surprised that he would have this reaction after so long. I can't remember the beginning, but the last thing he said was, "You deserve everything that's happening to you," and hung up. He hates me. He really thinks I deserve to stay with Josh because I'm attracted to girls. At the time, I just thought, F him, and I called my friend, who I'll call Abby. Well, she didn't answer at first, but then she called right back. Thank you all so much for suggesting that I call her, because she was so happy to hear from me. I told her everything that happened. She said she was 30 minutes away and she would come with her husband. I didn't even know she had gotten married. So I went back in, and oh my god, that was a horrible 30 minutes. I didn't know what to do. I was so effing worried he'd come out because I didn't want to see him. I'm a bad liar and he'd know something was up. I didn't want him to notice my stuff all packed up, so I just put all my cords, controllers, clothes, and small things I couldn't live without in a box but left the big stuff. Abby got there really fast, and her husband, who is such a nice guy, helped me load my desk, chair, and computer in their truck. This is the part I'm not feeling so great about right now. I left without saying a word to Josh. I could still hear him playing games in the other room, and the only thing I wanted in the entire world was for him to hug me and tell me it was okay. And, wow, my heart really hurts today. I can't even see through the tears to type this out. I know how he sounded, but I really loved him so much, and it feels like I ripped my own limb off. When I think about his face and smile and everything that was good, I feel like there's a huge hole in my chest. But when I play these fights I recorded and think about my future and this amazing friend who came and saved me and everything I can do with my life, I feel so happy. I thought I needed Josh, but man, it's so amazing feeling like I don't. I have to get a new phone, though. Thank you all so much. You are all amazing people. I received so many thoughtful messages, and I can't tell you how thankful I am that I ended up posting here. I'm with Abby now, And she lives in a house I've never been to, so I'm pretty sure Josh won't find it. And she invited another girl I haven't seen in years to go to a concert on Friday night, and I am so excited. We had strawberry daiquiris and watched stupid horror movies all night, and her husband is making waffles right now. Guys, I'm free. I'm so effing happy. I'm effing free. F you, Josh. Eva D. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Getting a new phone? What a perfect opportunity to get a new number. Ops response. I'm actually really glad he did that because now he can't reach me except through Reddit, and I'm just blocking his accounts as they message me. Plus, I'm retiring this account soon. Commenter 2. Oh my god, I'm so sorry your brother is such a piece of crap. I'm so glad you got out of there, and I'm so glad you have friends you can rely on. Cut the brother out, seriously. What a turd. Ops response. Actually, that's one of the only things that's really giving me a pit in my stomach today. I'm glad I know upfront that he's like that, because I don't want to let people like him into my life anymore.